The third element that matters in this, and it is so unsurprising, is that the money spent on this went to no-bid contracts. Again, one of which to one of Donald Trump's big donors.
You should have given it to an indigenous contractor.
No, you should give it.
That would have taken a year.
There are pool people who are posting on social.
Not transgender pool people. Those are the people that deserve
You're right. You should just give a contract to all of your friends so you can have a pool covered in algae.
But the water would still come from the Potomac.
Fine, and it's all Wes Moore's fault, right? Isn't that where we're going with this?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So glad you're here for this one. Today we're dropping into a heated panel showdown where Jessica Tarlov finds herself completely outnumbered, with the whole table coming at her over the green algae in that famous DC reflecting pool. While the others are busy cracking jokes about costumes, canoeists, and culture wars, Jessica keeps calmly steering the conversation back to the part that actually matters. And trust me, she lands some serious hits while everyone else is just performing for the camera. Stick around all the way through, because the strongest point of the entire segment doesn't drop until near the end, and you do not want to miss the moment she follows the money. And before we jump in, drop a comment and let me know where in the world you're tuning in from today. I genuinely love seeing how far this channel reaches. All right, let's get into it.
How Trump manages to take over the brains of liberals. But I also sometimes wonder if I don't have a form of Trump derangement syndrome, because I hear a story like this and I think it is so funny. It's almost like he intentionally threw this out to occupy all the media, occupy all the left, to the point where you have like otherwise supposedly serious news organizations doing a countdown clock from when they finished the pool to the going out doing algae tests. What they've done is they've created a kids table for all of these people, while the rest of us are over here talking about, like, I don't know, preventing World War IV with a nuclear weapon.
It is amazing, but at the same time, I love that analogy. These guys missed the border. They missed the victims of illegal gang members, women who were raped and murdered. They missed the entire COVID crime cover-up, which right now is exploding. I think, algae is the perfect analogy of left-wing politics. You can't, you can get rid of it and make things beautiful, but it's going to grow back. And so you kind of have to constantly battle it because it lives off the things that you make. If there was no reflecting pool, there would have been no algae. If there was no lawn, there would have been no 8647. If there was no wealth and prosperity, there would be no socialism. So you see how they all have to depend on people making and creating things in order for it to survive. It must be weird to hate nice things because people you hate like the nice things. If Trump said, I love food, would these idiots starve themselves to death? Maybe as an experiment, he should come out against rat poison just to see if they would sprinkle it on their oatmeal. Now they embrace algae, they embrace vandalism because it's anti-Trump, but that is nothing new. They've embraced vandalism before. They've torn down statues. The old line, if Trump cured cancer, they'd call it an attack on funeral homes.
Dana, I don't know what to make of all of this.
Oh, you don't? You don't?
I have no idea.
I have a feeling you know exactly what to make of all of it.
No, I really don't. I have no idea whether it was a botched job or it wasn't a botched job. And
I actually think it's even more simple than that. Okay, let's back up. I lived there a long time. I used to go, when I used to run, I don't even run errands anymore, but pretty much when you go by all of these beautiful monuments in Washington, you see for a long time, they were, there's weeds growing, the homeless people are around, like it's not nice. And the pond has had a lot of algae for many years. And at least President Trump was like, this place is a dump. I want to make it all look better. So he's putting time and effort into it.
This is the part that tells you everything about how this whole panel operates. They spend the opening minutes laughing about a pond, and they want you to think the pond is the funny part. It is not. The funny part is watching grown commentators build an entire worldview out of pool scum. Listen to what the host does with the algae. He turns it into a grand metaphor. He says algae is the perfect analogy of left-wing politics, that you clean it up and it just grows back. And here is what people don't realize about that move. When you can't argue the actual point, you reach for a metaphor. Because a metaphor doesn't have to be true, it just has to feel true to the people already nodding along. That is not analysis. That is mood lighting. Then he goes further, and this is the part that blows my mind. He says it must be weird to hate nice things because people you hate like the nice things. Think about how backwards that is. Nobody on the other side is mad that a reflecting pool exists. The entire point being raised is that a guy who promised to make it spotless ended up with green water. That is not hating nice things. That is noticing a broken promise. But noticing a broken promise is inconvenient. So they reframe it as, you just hate joy. And you have to understand why they do this. If the conversation stays on the pool is a tiny story. So they inflate it, they tie it to socialism and statues and the border, because a tiny embarrassing story has to be turned into a giant culture war, or it falls apart on its own. Even the co-host who tries to sound reasonable sets it up by saying, this place is a dump, and someone wanted to make it look better. Fine. Wanting to fix something is not the same as fixing it. And that gap is exactly what they spend the rest of this segment trying to hide.
Now, I think there's nothing wrong with saying, well, shoot, that didn't work. Part of the problem is you have the water that comes from the tidal basin. Where does the tidal basin water come from? The Potomac. What happened in the Potomac? Just like 6 months ago, this is what I would have said, that what did we have? We had the Maryland and Virginia with that little, whatchamacallit thing, the water deal. They didn't deal with it right, and then all the pollution went into the Potomac, and now that's the water that goes in there. Now, I think there's nothing wrong with saying, well, that didn't work, but we're going to get it right. Let's drain it one more time. Let's do it one more time. We're going to do it one more time and see if we can make it work. And there would be nothing wrong with that. Now, President Trump is blessed with the worst opposition, right? They love to come out and they want to dress up and they want to do all of these pictures. They want to go there. Like, they couldn't even send a single reporter to the border when Bill Maloogian was there for months showing them all of these stories. That said, this is an administration who has not been shy about showing us the evidence that they have against people who did something wrong. For example, the guy who threw the sandwich at the ICE officer. We saw that. That video is available. I will be open-minded. I would love to see some more evidence before I'm willing to buy that it was vandalism. I think that the dirty water in the Potomac, which you could trace, if you want to blame somebody, you could trace it back. You could find a way to do that. Or you could just say, let's just fix it. We have 4th of July coming up, and we want it to look beautiful.
I love that. Blame it on the E. coli that Democrat politicians allowed in the river. All right, Jesse, going back to Joy Reid. Do you think all Black people hate the 4th of July?
No, they love it. And she says she celebrates Juneteenth. That's her real 4th of July. I don't even believe that, okay? I celebrate Juneteenth. I was off on Juneteenth, okay? She worked on Juneteenth. So I don't even buy it. On the reflecting pool, Trump said that they have evidence of someone slicing and dicing the bottom of the pool, and that evidence will be shown in court. And that we have made 5 arrests, 5 individuals are under investigation, and I'm waiting to see the video evidence of it. Or they botched the redo. Okay, either way, this is all you got on this guy? You guys couldn't even build a charging station.
That's true.
Obama's library, have you seen that? It's like 20 years, $1 billion later, and they stiffed the black contractors, and it looks like garbage, Jessica. And oh my God, liberals would never vandalize public works.
Here is where it gets genuinely revealing, and I want you to catch it. One of the hosts actually admits the obvious thing. She says there's nothing wrong with saying, well, that didn't work, we'll get it right. And honestly, she's correct. That is the grown-up sentence in this entire segment. If they had all just said that, there is no story. But watch how fast the panel cannot tolerate that level of honesty for more than a few seconds. Because then comes the pivot. The same host says President Trump is blessed with the worst opposition. And that line is the tell. When your defense of a result is the other team is annoying, you have already lost the argument about the result. You have changed the subject to people in costumes because the actual outcome embarrasses you. Now give her credit on one thing, because this matters. She says she would love to see some more evidence before she's willing to buy that it was vandalism. Thank you. That is the only intellectually honest position on the table. Somebody floats sabotage, and the reasonable response is show me the proof. But notice, she's the lonely voice asking for evidence, while everyone else has already decided. And here is what people miss in this stretch. There is a real, boring, documented explanation sitting right there. Polluted water flows downstream into a basin and feeds that pool. This is not mysterious. Engineers have understood water flowing downhill and carrying whatever is upstream into it for literally thousands of years. The Romans built aqueducts around this exact principle. You don't need a saboteur, you need a filter. But a filter isn't a villain. So instead, another host jumps in with, "This is all you got on this guy. You couldn't even build a charging station." And that is rich. Because the second someone questions a public project, suddenly the standard is whatever the other side ever failed to build. That is not a defense. That is a hostage exchange of grievances.
Did you see BLM, the statues, the graffiti? Yeah. Go to Skid Row. I mean, you guys are disgusting. You guys make a job out of destroying cities. Look at Penn Station. It's a horrible place to be. And you're pointing a finger at a pool he's trying to make better? Come on, Jessica.
But liberals built Moynihan Station, which is train paradise.
It is beautiful.
Okay, so
It is beautiful.
now.
okay. The reason, and I'm not pro wearing like frog costumes or whatever, like people should work more and whatever. But the reason that the pool matters to people, putting aside someone who might have your odd case of TDS, is that Trump came out and said, Obama, Biden, none of them could make it nice. I make everything nice. I'm the best builder in the whole world. And guess what? His pool is full of algae too, right? So he bragged about how it was impossible for anyone but him. He alone can fix it. Well, obviously not.
Have you seen the murder rate in D.C.?
Just keep deflecting. Number two reason.
How is that deflecting? I'm just
Dana
asking.
We're talking about algae, not murder.
And
It's not deflecting, it's
they
reflecting.
are arresting people on fake vandalism charges like the Subway sandwich man. And
Trump
it is
didn't
going to
arrest
end.
Well, the Subway sandwich, the guy did actually throw the
But
Subway sandwich.
he wasn't going to be thrown in jail for it.
Well, I didn't know, but I saw the evidence.
But do you think actually Trump called up the
I think that
Park police and
Trump
said,
heard-
you need to go and arrest the guy in the bike shorts?
I think that someone told him, by the way, and the guy in the bike shorts, you think a three-time Olympian, a canoeist, this David
Not a
Hurley-
canoeist.
A canoeist.
Oh my God, that changes everything. Get me on the
I
Canoeist
think that
Association
someone
line.
showed him pictures, Natalie Harp or whoever it is,
didn't.
and
It
it's
was
like, look what
all
they're
in
doing to
real
your
time.
pool. The third element that matters in this, and it is so unsurprising, is that the money spent on this went to no-bid contracts. Again, one of which to one of Donald Trump's big
You
donors.
should have given it to an indigenous contractor.
No, you should
And
give
that would
it.
have taken a year.
There are pool people who are posting on
No,
social
not
who actually.
transgender pool people. Those are the people that deserve
You're
it.
right. You should just give a contract to all of your friends so you can have a pool covered in algae.
But the
that's
water would
wrong
still
color.
come from the Potomac.
Fine, and it's all Wes Moore's fault, right? Isn't that where we're going with this?
No, but I like that.
And the guy that got arrested in the bike shorts, all I'm going to say is
The canoeist.
the canoeist, the Olympic canoeist who got arrested in his bike shorts, Donald Trump does a much better mugshot. I would far rather have Trump's mugshot than that.
And here it is. This is the moment the whole segment was secretly building toward, and the liberal voice on this panel finally says the quiet part out loud. Everyone else is yelling about statues and graffiti and trains, throwing every unrelated thing at the wall, and Jessica just calmly walks them into the actual point. She lays out why the pool matters at all. She points out the brag. The promise was, I make everything nice. I'm the best builder in the whole world. And then she delivers the line that ends the entire conversation. Jessica said this, he alone can fix it. Well, obviously not. That is it. That is the whole ball game. Because the pool was never really about the pool. It was about a man who said nobody else on earth could do this, and then the water turned green anyway. You cannot brag that you alone are the fixer and then hand me algae. Pick one. And then she does the thing that actually makes this a story instead of a joke. She brings the receipts. Jessica pointed out the money went to no-bid contracts, and one of them went to one of his big donors. That is the part you're supposed to walk away remembering. Not the frog costumes, not the canoeist in bike shorts, not the murder rate deflection somebody tried to throw in to change the channel. Follow the money. A no-bid contract to a donor is the oldest trick there is, and she said it flatly while everyone else was performing. Watch how they respond to her too. The second she lands the donor point, the table fills with jokes about transgender pool people and indigenous contractors. That is not a rebuttal. That is noise generated specifically to bury a fact that landed. And Jessica's last clean shot says it perfectly. She said you should just give a contract to all your friends so you can have a pool covered in algae. The deflection, the friends, the green water, all tied in one sentence. And here is what I want you to sit with. One person came with a point. Everybody else came with a bit. When you watch a panel and only one person keeps dragging it back to evidence, money, and the actual broken promise, that person isn't the angry one. That person is the only one taking you seriously. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.